Next to me is the commander of the 1st Assault Regiment, Dmytro Filov. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for finding the time during this very logistical lockdown. So, the Chonhar bridge, the crossing to Crimea, was it completely destroyed or only partially? Tell us how it happened and what consequences we are seeing now.
The destruction of the solid crossings, specifically the bridges, was complete. Now the enemy is constantly setting up crossings, but their width is much smaller than that of a standard bridge. Right now, they are trying to build embankments to ensure more stable movement because the defense forces, various units, keep sinking their pontoons. A lot of units have joined in now. Their logistics in that direction have significantly deteriorated. Military logistics are practically not being carried out there now because their military vehicles are immediately destroyed. This is precisely the reason why they are now trying to carry out covert logistics operations. They are currently trying to transport their cargo using more civilian vehicles, but they are no longer conducting full-scale logistics in that area anymore.
We're talking about the Novorossiya highway now, right? Which is
So-called
Donetsk, the so-called Novorossiya highway on our occupied territories. And what was your role in this lockdown? What part did you play in order to destroy the complete picture of the war?
We, as it eventually turned out, concentrated a significantly greater amount of our attention on those specific highways that went from Melitopol towards the Huliaipol direction and systematically carried out targeted strikes in that entire area. The actions we took regarding the Armyansk bridge, the Chonhar bridge, and, well, a number of bridges, 7 in total, were necessary, and we carried them out because our intelligence assets received information from sources that the enemy would be using a different route for logistics. And we made the decision and struck those bridges.
Overall, we can see the results of the Defense Forces operations in Crimea, including deep strikes, and the military logistics have been disrupted, in particular. Crimea is becoming an island.
Yes.
Are you observing the Russians' reaction?
Look, it happened this way. We didn't actually plan for exactly these consequences. But it so happened that it was specifically the multi-domain center, represented by 2 units, the 1st Assault and the 475th Assault Regiment, that broke the sacredness of Crimea and, let's say, set an example, showed that this can be done.
In particular, to destroy logistics. But you also worked on Crimea, right? Other SBU units were also involved there.
Yes.
And in terms of...
We mostly worked on the bridges, and let's say this prompted others to get involved in that direction more actively, and that's it. It happened spontaneously. Everyone saw that it could be done. Everyone saw that it brings results, and quite powerful ones. And for the enemy, it's very sensitive, so forces and resources were concentrated there.
So what exactly are the results, particularly for the front line? Because it's clear that along this so-called Novorossiya highway, they were reinforcing their units here on the front line.
I can't fully assess the consequences across the entire territory right now. If we take the occupied Zaporizhia region, the Kherson region, and Crimea itself, as well as the line of contact that runs along the Dnipro River. But in our sector, thanks to this, we have reduced the impact of enemy artillery by 63%. The impact of UAVs, it turns out, has decreased by almost 40%. This is significant, really very significant, and the impact on transport logistics hits especially hard those types of weaponry that require a large volume of logistics. First and foremost, this is artillery. Shells are quite heavy. A single shell doesn't make a difference. You need to bring a lot of them. This is tons of cargo that you can't just haul around with simple carts. So you need motor vehicles for this. Even if you take, say, a car trailer, you can load 20 shells into it. But a passenger car simply won't be able to carry more over rough roads or dirt surfaces. It will just fall apart along the way. You need trucks for this, so it significantly affects these types of enemy weapons and reduces their intensity. This gives us the opportunity to move forward.
So far, there is no sign at the front that it is coming to an end, even considering the logistical lockdown.
Yes, well, these are the very first encouraging indications that we are developing the comprehensive strategic capabilities that will enable us to finally and decisively achieve victory in the war militarily. To put it another way, the only way to compel Russia to stop this war is to demonstrate clearly that we possess the strength to take back what is rightfully ours.
Strong enough only in terms of drones? Is that...
No.
What else is lacking?
We definitely won't win the war with drones alone. The focus on drones shouldn't be one-sided. Drones are currently a very important component on the front line. They are not tied to any particular branch of the military except for the unmanned systems forces, but everyone else uses them too. They are used by artillerymen, artillery brigades, mechanized units, airborne assault, and assault regiments. The point is that the nature of these tools is different, right? If a unit is more aggressive and conducts assault operations, then they need tools for longer range strikes and longer range reconnaissance. If a unit is primarily defensive in nature, then their tools should be more focused on logistics, mining, that is, ensuring the resilience of the defense. Accordingly, yes, they also need long-range strike capabilities, but the nature of these strikes is different from those of assault units 100%.
But how close are we now to the understanding that Russia might already perceive us as an equal adversary, in the sense that we could take back what is ours?
We are still a long way off from reaching that goal, but we are definitely on the right path. For Russia to start perceiving us as a potentially equal adversary, we need to carry out not only a transformation in the military, but also in society. This is very important. We are on the...
Let's return to the issue of Russification, the assessment of loyalty.
Yes, if you take a look at the situation, unlike Russia, we have not yet shifted our economy onto a full-scale war footing. It is quite clear that we see that Russia, even while operating under stringent sanctions, currently possesses significantly greater production capabilities than we do, especially in terms of their overall industrial scale. And this, shows that it gives them confidence that Ukraine could fall to its knees at any moment. And that's why it encourages them to continue. They now realize that Ukraine's greatest resource is the support of its partners, and they are looking for levers to put pressure on them. It has engaged in various dialogues with the United States, flirted with them, and is trying to do the same with the Europeans. At the moment, we are receiving a large amount of support, and Europe is interested in ensuring that Ukraine does not lose this war. Perhaps it...
Held out as long as possible? So, you say not to lose, to hold out as long as possible, or actually win?
Look, this is a complicated question. Why? In my opinion, if our partners wanted us to win, they would have given us enough weapons, arms, and equipment at the time when we needed it. That is, they give us everything only when we are already in a very critical condition. So yes, they support us, but it's not so much cautiously as it is stingily. They could give us all the resources, all the weapons that would give us a significant advantage on the battlefield.
But they say they can't give away everything they have. They don't have that much of it either, because Europe hasn't been at war for quite a long time.
Yes, I definitely think that Russia will soon find some kind of leverage. I think it could be, and I'm not going to name specific countries here, but they're probably much more eager for Kaliningrad now than they ever were for Crimea in the past. It seems quite likely that their strategic interests are shifting in that direction as we speak.
So you don't rule out that war could break out in other European territories as well?
I'm certain that if Putin was sure that Ukraine wouldn't launch an aggressive offensive, he would have already started a war there.
Essentially, we are postponing the start of this by we, I mean Ukraine.
We are actually saving Europe. And that's no joke. That's really how it is.
The phenomenon of victory, again, or the understanding of victory. You know, there needs to be a public dialogue about how Ukrainians understand victory. The soldiers whom I have been talking to throughout all this time, throughout the entire full-scale journey, say that right now, as was the case a year ago, it is impossible to reach the borders of 1991. Stop there and declare that we have won. What does Ukrainian victory mean to you?
The end of the war, so that Ukraine becomes strong, not only militarily, but also politically strong, strong in terms of industry, in other words, strong in every respect. So that Ukraine realizes that if we truly want to exist as a state, and as a nation, then first of all, we need to change the direction of our strategic development. Our country needs to move from being just an agricultural environment to a more, let's say, industrial and technological development, and strive to develop in all directions, whether it's the extraction of rare earth metals or in the energy sector as well. Our country must become a leader in nuclear energy if we want to be independent. It so happens that we don't have winds and we don't have enough sun. And all over the world, the idea of small nuclear reactors has long been gaining traction, with very reputable companies like Rolls-Royce, for example, producing them. And there is still no global support for their implementation. Ukraine can become a leader in this field because after the war ends, we will need energy and resources for recovery. And one of the main resources will be investments. And if we create a certain investment climate, then European and international companies will enter this field, this industry. Also, our geographical location is close to Europe, and we can capture a large share of the Chinese market if we implement the same, well, not fully, yes, but partially the same legislative norms that enable China's development. China didn't become a developed economy out of nowhere.
But it also didn't happen in just 1 year. Right now, we're talking about something that is possible in the future, after the end of hostilities. And does the Ukrainian victory end in the Ukrainian Donbas or at the Ukrainian borders of 1991? Or perhaps, after all, right now along the current line that exists?
That depends on many factors. If the war ends in the near future, then most likely it will end along the current line of contact, because we haven't yet gained the capabilities to demonstrate our strength. If in the next, say, 6 months, we don't waste this time, but instead work on developing and building up the army, the state, and state policy, which, in my opinion, we've actually made great progress in this regard. That is, our country has taken many steps forward. It is now recognized. Our political leaders have done a great deal of work so that Europeans could come to an understanding with us. So if we continue to build upon these foundations and work to strengthen every aspect of our efforts, then by next year, the entire situation will shift decidedly in Ukraine's favor.